since the 60s, and Kennedy, I think he tried to foster world peace, and basically the three goals of Peace Corps, helping Americans understand other cultures, and vice versa, helping other cultures understand Americans helps a lot with anti-American sentiment, especially nowadays with what just happened in the Arab Spring.
The Peace Corps is important to our nation, I would say, because it shows the greatness that America has to offer to the rest of the world. It shows the great people, the great support that the country provides not only to its own citizens, but brings that message abroad and has people volunteering out of the goodness of their hearts to help other people abroad, and then also to get to learn the culture and adapt to situations in those countries too.
Because it has many opportunities for us as Americans to learn about different communities and meet different people in different languages and see how different things run, open our horizons.
And I think we come back after this experience changed our views. We're the same people, but we're different. We now think more globally and not locally.
The Peace Corps has been a benefit to my local community because I am a high school science teacher, and I use examples from my Peace Corps service and the experiences that I had every day in my classroom, and I believe that they help my students expand their thoughts and the new applications of science all over the world. So it's been a great benefit.
The Peace Corps experience has taught me to listen. It's taught me to be patient. It's taught me about the potential in human beings.
It's really important because it helps the world become familiar with Americans in a more intimate way, and it also helps Americans become more intimate with the outside world.
We lived in Malaysia during the Vietnam War, and so for me it was extremely difficult to imagine the people in Southeast Asia who I was beginning to know and care about as enemies.
Having served in Jordan, I've developed another way of looking at the world and trying to understand problems from different perspectives, and I think that's a really important skill now in my studies as a graduate student, as well as in different professional experiences I've had.
When I went to Iran, most of the contact that any Iranians had with Americans were perhaps diplomats or military people, and they had a very, very limited small view of what the United States was, and in direct contact in their language, they began to see a side of America that they had been totally unaware of, and in return I got to see a perspective on the world that I would not have had otherwise.
Peace Corps is absolutely the best foreign policy we have. I mean, you can't beat it. It's a way to get to know people person to person, and to me, next to having my children, Peace Corps is the most important thing I ever did in my life.